Bruchim Habayim. It's a pleasure to be here speaking Erev, such a special Chag. We're a time of miracles, my friends. This is the month to get what we need in the world today. First of all, we make all our brachot and all the Torah. Shubilu Nishmat Rafael Edman, Ezra Ben Esther, and Yaakov Alem HaShalom. Friends, there's a question which I've asked many times before, and it's so relevant when it comes to this particular holiday. You know, we have many chagim, many holidays during the Jewish year. Pesach, Exodus from Egypt, we eat matzah, drink wine, clean the house, schlep the family out to our Pesach Seder table. We have Sukkot, we have the Daled Minim, the 4 species, the Sukkah, a lot to prepare, a lot to do. Shavuot, we're up learning, eating cheesecake. It's busy. Every holiday, so much to do in order to fulfill all the mitzvot comes. Chanukah, put a little light in the window. That's it. Nothing else. No cakes. You can have a donut if you want to. If you're very religious, you can have 2, maybe a little bit of latke. Don't overdo it. But that's it. That little light in the window. Hallel every day. Full Hallel. It's a big thing. But what's the mitzvah? A little tiny light is going to sit in your window. And on day 2, you're going to have 2 little lights. And day 3, 3 small lights. That's it. To celebrate the great victory of the Maccabees in Yerushalayim, reclaiming our Makom, Mikdash, reclaiming the Holy Temple. Let's all make temples together. Let's rededicate. Let's make a big celebration. Give so many mitzvot. And don't think the rabbis can't make mitzvot. Purim. We have so many mitzvot we do. We have the Sudot. We read the Megillah twice. So much going on. Hanukkah, no. A little light in the window. What is going on? What is so special about this small flame that we put there for everyone to see, that it's going to equal all the mitzvot, that no other mitzvot are needed to celebrate this rededication of the temple in Jerusalem? There's a story of a family in Bnei Barak. It's a true story. And they were having trouble with their finances, and the electricity bill came in, and that month it came to 1,500 shekels. And the father house says, this is too much. I have too many other bills. There's too much going on. We're going to have to start cutting back. So his wife said, Moshe, how are we going to cut back? He said, you know what? No more AC. My grandmother didn't have AC. My great-grandmother definitely do. That's it. No more AC. Let's see what happens. They didn't use AC all month. In Israel, Bnei Barak, schwitzing away, electricity bill goes down. He goes, it's good, but it's not great. We could do better. This month, no AC and no fridge. You think my ancestors had a fridge in the house and a freezer? We're done. Unplug it. Moshe, how are we going to? Don't worry. We're going to survive like they did as well. And the bill went down. But it wasn't enough. He said, this month, no AC, no fridge, no freezer, and no lights. The only light you can use in the house is there's a little red light next to the bathroom. That one you can have, and that's going to be used to illuminate the entire home in Bnei Barak. He looked at the bill that month. It's back up to 1,500 shekels. He calls up the electricity board. He's like, what is going on? I don't understand. I'm not using the lights. I'm not using the electricity, the AC. No fridge, no freezer. This is ridiculous. We'll send an electrician to check it out. In comes the electrician. And he's looking around and he's trying to figure out. Everything's unplugged. No fans, no AC, no nothing. Garnished. And then he sees a little light. He says, what's this? Why is this on? He says, well, we need some light in the house. He says, you foolish man. This is the light that turns on your boiler. You're leaving that light boiling all the water 24/7 every day. Of course your bill is high. You're being ridiculous. You're defeating the purpose of everything else. The joke's on us. My friends, we have one light. And we think it's nothing. And we put it in the window. And we think, it's Hanukkah. Light the light, play a little bit of dreidel, eat a latke, maybe a donut, and we're good to go. My friends, if we understood the power of that light, just like that red light by the bathroom, can suck a lot of energy. That light of the menorah, this is what the rabbis tell us, has the power to bring salvation, to bring love and connection, which is unparalleled. No other mitzvah is needed. That's all you need. That light can do everything for us. That little, small, humble light that we keep in our window. I have an admission to make to you. I've not been public about this, but I'm going to now. I'm not a big fan of flowers. I know some people are. They have many flowers and plants in their house. Nothing personal. I'm just not so into them. And something happened in my life that led to this situation. You see, I got engaged. I was an older bachor. I was in yeshiva. And I was dating for many, many years. It took me a long time to find someone willing to put up with me, and I did eventually. And we got engaged. And my wife said, we're going to have an engagement party in this synagogue in Brooklyn. She goes, my mother wants you to do one thing, my present mother-in-law. She wants you to buy the centerpiece flowers. You know, they have a centerpiece, the flower thing. You have one job. That's it. Besides that, you can keep on learning. I was studying to be a rabbi. I was learning a lot. But please do not forget the centerpiece. It's going to be there. Do not forget it. I said, I got this. I got this. Don't worry. I'm all over it, like white on rice. Every time she speaks to me on the phone, did you order the centerpiece? Oh, no, I'm going to take it. Will you relax? I'm going to take care of it. Do not worry. It's 2 weeks for the engagement. 1 week. 3 days. The night before the engagement, I'm in my room with my friend, Gabriel, who's now a big rabbi in South Africa. We were both living together. And I had a sweat, thinking, I've forgotten something. I don't know what it is, but I've forgotten something, and I'm racking my mind. Suit, yeah. Shoes, yeah. Flowers! I didn't order the flowers the night before the engagement. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I grabbed a book, which the young people will not know. It was called The Yellow Pages. You know this book? Basically, it's Google, but on paper. And you had to know your alphabet, because you had to and let your fingers do the work, right? You had to go through and find it. And I got to F, and flowers. And I saw there was a number, 1-800-flowers or something like that. I said, I got this. I got this. I called them up. This is pre-cell phone on my regular phone with a little wire attached. And I said, you got to help me? It's my engagement tomorrow. I got to get flowers. Could you? They're like, sir, we got this. Do not worry. What's your budget? Budget? A budget? I don't know. $20? I said, I'm sorry? I said, $20? $25? I'm a yeshiva boy, what do I know? He was like, no problem, sir. We'll get you a centerpiece. You got no idea. The next day came. We're at the event. Everything is there. And I'm not even kidding you. My mother-in-law set out this table full of cakes and pastries and little plants. And in the middle was this big empty area awaiting the arrival of the centerpiece. The one job I had. This is a true story. I'm not removing anything from it. I'm waiting and waiting. My friends are dying. They cannot stop laughing. It's killing them. They're loving this because they know I'm in trouble. And my mother-in-law the whole time, she's a nice lady. She's like, oh, any idea when the flowers are coming? Any idea? Because we have a big empty thing. I'm said, I ordered it. It's coming. My wife, well, fiance at that point, she's like, I'm going to kill you if they don't. I said, they're coming. I ordered them. Do not worry. Eventually, this massive truck pulls up with flowers on the side. I'm like, thank you, Hashem. You saved my marriage before it even began. All my friends from the yeshiva come out to see the unveiling. The guy, I'm not kidding, he gets out of the truck. He pulls up the back. He goes in. He was in there for a long time. That should have been my first alert. He's rummaging around, and then we see him exit the vehicle holding what I can only describe as a flower. A zoe. And my friend standing next to me, who's now a very successful therapist in Queens, screams out, presenting flower! That was it. All my yeshiva, they're on the floor. They're loving this. I'm like, I am going to die on my engagement day. It's all over. My wife looks at me, and to this day, I see those eyes, I know I'm in trouble. They bring them in, they carry them inside. My mother-in-law is a lovely lady, puts it in the middle, and then shoves all the cakes so they surround this little boop sticking up in the middle of the table. Friends, there's actually a follow-up story. I wanted to make up to my in-laws what I did to them. So they invited me for Shabbat. It was Hanukkah, and that year Hanukkah coincided with, the non-Jewish holidays. I said, I'm going to make it up. I'm going to buy them a big, beautiful plant to make up for what I did, because my father-in-law is obsessed with flowers, orchids. Everything in the home is orchids. I bought him a big plant. I brought it in. I gave it to my future mother-in-law. We weren't married yet. And she looked at me and said, oh, okay. I was like, that's a strange response. And she put the flowers, the plant I bought, in the corner of the house. My future father-in-law came in, and he walked into the house. And he looks at the plant I brought and said, who brought this Christmas poinsettia into my house? I don't know what to do. I just give up. I just don't buy flowers anymore. I don't buy plants. This is a thing that's not in my house. Friends, sometimes we're waiting, and we're waiting for a big miracle to come. And that's what we expect. We want miracles in Israel. And we want miracles in America. And we want miracles throughout the entire world. And we're waiting for the big stuff to happen. And people say, when's it going to come? And how's it going to come? When is my big plan going to come? But you know what? That's not how life works. There is a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot that tells us there were 10 miracles that happened every day in the Beit HaMikdash. The first one. The first Beit HaMikdash. The second one was a lower caliber in some respects. And this was one of them. 10 miracles. And I would have thought 10 miracle temple, what would it be? People who are sick get healed. People with no money become amazingly rich. Because that's what we want. We want all the big miracles. Someone who couldn't find a shidduch found their soulmate like that. But that's not the list of miracles that the Mishnah tells us. The list is that a woman, while the Beit HaMikdash was there, didn't miscarry. No fly was ever seen near the meat. There's a lot of meat and blood at the Beit HaMikdash. You want to think about what was happening there. And there was no flies, says the Mishnah, that surrounded. The rain didn't extinguish the fire of the Mizbech on the temple. There was fires all the time. Ner Tamid. Wow, that's it? No great miracles? But that is a miracle. Sometimes the miracle in life is, my friends, and we have to remember this, is that things just go on okay. That we still have our jobs. That we're still getting dates, people to be with. We're not completely cut off. that we still wake up in the morning. There's so many amazing miracles that happen. They're not the big fancy showy ones. That light that we put in our window is a testament to a great miracle that happened a long time ago. But the fact we still put it in the window means that everything that we experience, even that little flame that we light ourselves, is miraculous. And that's how we have to look at it. That's what Hashem wants from us. Of course we want the big stuff. I want to win the lottery. That's what I want. Everyone does. Okay, we'll be different when we win it. But nobody here is going to win the lottery. I'm so sorry to reveal it to you. None of you are going to win the lottery. It's never going to happen. I know what you're thinking, but I'm different. It's not going to happen. Statistically, it's just not going to happen. I'm not going to meet anyone who knows someone who wins the lottery. Mostly because I don't know anyone in Alabama. There's always some weird schmagegi in Alabama who wins the lottery, I hear. Maybe that's the reason. It just doesn't work that way. Miracles don't always have to be these amazing, incredible events that are life-changing, but they could be small. They could be consistent. But that could be the miracle that Hashem wants from us. You know, there's a beautiful story about a great rabbi called the Megala Amukot. He was a rabbi. Actually, my wife, we were just in Krakow a year ago or so, and my wife found a number of her ancestors buried in the cemetery over there, one particular one. I can't remember if this was one of them, but he was a big rabbi in Krakow. And this rabbi was called to a bet din, to run a bet din. What had happened? There was a bakery in town that sold bagels. Right? Jewish bakery, Krakow, sold bagels. And a rich man had walked in to buy a bagel, and he saw this great man who was making the bagels. Working hard, schwitzing. If you make a bagel properly, it's a schwitz. It takes work and time and effort. And he did. He was very, very careful. Him and his wife ran this bakery. And this rich man said, what is this great tzaddik working in a bakery? This is terrible. He walked over to him and said, you're not going to work here anymore. I'm rich. I'm going to support you. You're going to spend your entire day in the Bet Midrash. That's what you're going to do. The entire day. It's a true story. You're going to spend your entire day in the Bet Midrash. I'm going to pay you, what do you make over here? 10 times the amount. You're not going to have to work again. You could just study Torah, read Tehillim all day, every day, and pray. The guy says, okay. Takes off his apron, puts it down, closes the store, walks out. And they make an agreement. And they sign an agreement, as it should be done. A few weeks later, the rich man comes back to this part of town, and he sees the bakery's open, and there's the guy. He's making bagels again. He says, what are you doing? He says, I couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. You love Torah. You love to pray. You live for it. Why couldn't you do it? He says, I've got to tell you the truth. He says, you know, when I made bagels, I used to wake up very early in the morning, and I would pray to Hashem that I should find good wood to light up my ovens. And then I would pray to Hashem that I would find good flour to make my bagels. And then I would pray to Hashem that the water and the flour would mix well, and the yeast and it would rise. And I would pray that I would find good customers who would enjoy my product. And I'm sitting in the Bet Midrash, and I've lost it. I just turn up, and I pray, and I learn, but I've lost my connection to Hashem, and I can't live like that. And the man said, but we had a deal. And he said, I'm breaking the deal. And they went to the Megala Amukot to argue about, I want to give you tzedakah, and you don't want to take it. Can you imagine that? I'm just telling you. Doesn't usually happen that way. It's usually lahafoch, the other way around. They go because they want the money. Here, they didn't want it. He wanted to give it away. Megala Amukot made a decision, whatever the ruling was, that satisfied both of them. And then he said publicly, I was going to leave town, and I was going to give up my rabbanut in this town. It's a true story. He said, but when I saw these people, I'm not going to tell you, he never told the population, and we don't know why he wanted to leave. But something had happened that he didn't want to be the rabbi in Krakow, in this particular part of the town, anymore. But he said, you know what? when I see this is how the people live, that one wants to give so much and one wants to connect to Hashem so much, that's a town I want to be a rabbi in. That's how I want to connect. That is who we are. The man who sells the bagels could be the holiest guy in town. The doctor, the lawyer, the business person, the man or woman bringing up the kids alone at home every single day, they could be that little flame that everything revolves around. And our entire Yeshua could come from that one person and that one act. There's I don't know if this story is true, but it's a cute story. But supposedly it happened in Yerushalayim many years ago. And there was a very, very poor man living in Yerushalayim. And his friend owned like a deli kind of store, a makolet, you know. And out of the makolet, he used to sell lottery tickets. So one day he walked into the store, he had no money, and his friend gave what he wanted. He says, let me buy your lottery ticket. So the guy said, nah, you don't need to do that, I can't even afford it. He goes, just take the ticket. If it wins, the money's yours. If it doesn't, you don't owe me a penny. Just take the ticket. Okay? So, takes the ticket, writes out the numbers, and he goes home. 2 nights later, the store owner is listening to the radio, and he hears the numbers of the lottery ticket. And he looks down, and he sees that this really, really poor guy had won the lottery. But it's the middle of the night. He goes, I don't care. I got to tell him. He's now the wealthiest man in Yerushalayim. So he runs to his friend's house, thinking he won't mind. He knocks on the door. Wife comes down, opens the door. He goes to the bedroom, and he's lying there sleeping, and he wakes him up, and he says, Moishelah, Moishelah. He goes, what happened, what happened? He goes, you won the lottery. You're a rich man. And he says, how dare you wake me up? He goes, what? I just told you. He goes, how dare you wake up the wealthiest man in Yerushalayim? Still a poor man, living in a poor house, got nothing to his name, and he forgets it all. The joke's on us. That's us. We have all of this stuff, all of the blessings, everything we need, Baruch Hashem. Miracles all day, every day. We said in Modem Anachnu Lach, we have Nisim b'chol yom v'yom. Such an amazing thing. And we can use that to bring a little bit of light. You know, I must tell you a story. It's a true story. Some years ago, I had a student who was in a very, very bad place. This is remarkable. It just came to my head. I must tell you the story. It's a remarkable story. He was in a very, very bad place. And I didn't see him for a number of months. And suddenly everything fixed itself. And I said, wow, you look great. Things are away. He goes, yeah, I'm doing great. I got a better job now, and my shalom bayit has improved. Everything's good. I said, what happened? He goes, I'll tell you. He says, you know, I was in the Bet Knesset one morning, and I was feeling sorry for myself. I was depressed. And I was sitting by myself at the back of the synagogue. And it was a Monday morning. And they had Kriyat Torah. And this synagogue, and not every synagogue does this, by the way, but it's a beautiful minhag. This Bet Knesset we're in right now does do it. They took the Torah out, and they carry the Torah so everyone can touch it and kiss it and hold the Torah. Right? That's our custom, right? We take it, we go around, go back there, you want, you come close, people come over here. You know, not every synagogue does that. Some synagogues, they take the Torah, they go straight to the Shulchan, they read, they put it back in. He says, I was feeling depressed, I was by myself, and I saw the guy walk to the back corner of the back where I was, just to let me kiss the Torah. That's it. He says, I don't know why, that changed my perspective, my life. I felt, you know what? I'm an important person. They just brought me the Torah. How good do I feel? That little action changed everything. From that point on, it just turned around. I just felt good about myself. Who would have thought that one little action of flame that can ignite a person's neshama. Ner mitzvah, v'torah or. A ner is like a mitzvah, and Torah is light. It can bring light to your life where there was darkness. You must not forget the darkness. Don't forget the challenges. But you have to know that the light can ignite everything. You know, the menorah, got to mention something on Chanukah. The menorah in the Beit HaMikdash represented the Torah. Really? It did? Are you sure? Wasn't there something else in the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, that represented the Torah? How about the Torah? Right? How about that? There was an Aaron, an ark, good translation, and inside were the luchot, and the first ever Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Doesn't that represent the Torah? The rabbis are like, yeah, that's true. Because there's two Torot. There is? Yeah. You see, the luchot and the Torah in the ark represent the written Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's when Moshe Rabbeinu received his nevuah, his prophecy, next to that Torah. Because it's the 5 books of Moses. That's his Torah. So that's where he got it. The menorah represents the Torah Shaba'al Peh. That is the Torah that we don't see. It's represented by the light of the menorah. And that was Aaron's job. The first Beit HaMikdash represented the written Torah. The second Beit HaMikdash represented the menorah. And that's when the Hanukkah story took place. That light of the menorah of the oral Torah was represented by the menorah itself. That is I'll tell you something very deep. You know, we know that Hanukkah is 8 days. We're going to say Hallel, full Hallel, with a bracha for 8 days. That's Shmona. Shmona is 8. If you rearrange the letters, you get Neshama, a soul. A soul. Rearrange the letters again, you get Mishnah. Rearrange them again, you get Hashamen, the oil. What do all these things have in common? 8, Neshama, Hashamen, Mishnah. They're all connectors. The Neshama connects your 2 higher souls, your Chaim Yechidah, with your lower souls, your Nefesh and your Ruach. The Mishnah was the first time, and it was written at that time, during the second Beit HaMikdash. The oral Torah was what kept us going, because there was no ark in the second Beit HaMikdash. There was no Torah. There were no luchot in the second Beit HaMikdash. It was just menorah. So the Mishnah represents that Torah which we cannot see. We have to understand. It's like a light. It brings us everything. And the number 8 represents that, of course, as well. It's Lamala Min HaTeva. 7 represents Olam Hazeh, this world. That's what the 7 days of the week. 7 notes in musical scale. Then it goes back to 1 again. Right? 7 colors of the rainbow. 8 is always above the natural order. So 8 is just that elevation that gets you into the metaphysical. And Hashemen is the oil. And the oil is also the connecting point that brings the flame and the wick comes together through the oil. So that's Hashemen, that's Shmona, that's Neshama. All the connections, and that's Mishnah. Mishnah is the first time we take the written Torah and the oral Torah, and it's the meeting point. What's got to do with us? Because Chanukah has the power to connect us. It's a connector. It can connect us to each other. The relationships that you never thought you could have, success you never thought you could have, can happen in this month. Hanukkah has the power to redeem us. That little tiny flame can change everything. It's the little red light outside the bathroom. It can light it all up. It can bring you greatness and warmth and success that no other month has the power to do. That, my friends, is where we are right now, and we're about to enter. You know, Isaiah the prophet says, when describing Hashem, Ani Rishon v'ani Acharon. So Isaiah the prophet says, I am first and I am last. And the rabbis say this is Hanukkah. On Hanukkah, we turn to Hashem first and turn to Hashem last. Other times, we go to the doctors, we go to our friends, we go to business. Hanukkah has the power. You can do all that, but that falls in between these 2 parameters. I am first and I am last. My friends, that is the power of the month we're in. B'ezrat Hashem, we should keep seeing miracles, and we're going to see more and more of them. I guarantee to you, this month and the months that are coming, God willing, we're going to see, as I mentioned before, the year we're in right now is a year of Pehei, Tovshin Pehei, a time to speak out Hashem's greatness. The more you speak it out to your friends, to your family, the greater it's going to be for all of us. This is the time of redemption. A window has opened. This is not me saying this. I'm hearing this from people much greater than myself. There is a window that is open now, that we have the ability to bring the greatest redemption, which will put into second, third, fourth place every redemption from Mitzrayim to Bavel, even the Hanukkah story. That is where we are right now. God willing, we'll recognize the miracles. We'll thank Hashem through the miracles every single day. And when we light that light in the window, we're going to think about our brothers and sisters, wherever they are in the entire world, in Eretz Yisrael, in Gaza. They should have a Yeshua B'ezrat Hashem. And we should have our own personal Yeshuot and the schut of that candle. As you light it, have this all in mind. Wishing you a Chanukah Sameach. Rabbi Fahi.